This is meteorologist Mark Molnar with special winter storm coverage here on the U.S. East Coast for Thursday and Friday. Before I get into my outlook, I want to make note that I will be releasing a final winter weather outlook for 2018-2019, correcting a lot of my mistakes that I made, and I was behind the curve on many of the telekinetics and analysis of El Nino, to the Siberian snow, the snow in northwest North America, the Pacific Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillation, and I will update you with a final winter weather outlook here before Thanksgiving. So watch for that video as I correct a lot of problems, and I was behind the curve. So let's get right in. The weather is moving very fast. We're moving very fast into winter this year. Let's get right into the particulars. Invest 96 spinning out here towards Puerto Rico into the northern Lesser Antilles. This system is a fading memory into the sunset. Continue northwest. Wind shear battling as well as dry air in the westerlies. Let's take a look at the forecast for the East Coast. You got that jet stream here, northern branch of the jet stream, providing that cold air as well as high pressure here to the northeast. It will slowly retreat as this system develops here along the U.S. East Coast, but you got plenty of moisture here with the subtropical jet. These two combine forces along the U.S. East Coast for early Thursday, and we'll get that low pressure system developing here just off North Carolina, propagating northward, due north pretty much along the New Jersey coastline for Thursday night into Friday. So there you have it. Those are all the particulars. We will have a pretty good supply of cold air initially here, so that could get things interesting for Thursday night, especially into Friday morning here. Let's get right into the forecast. We'll start off with precipitation totals across the country. We'll draw to the northeast here. Now, models have toned down precip totals a little bit here across the northeast, but we're still looking at significant liquid equivalents here, especially in interior New York and Pennsylvania, anywhere from a half to as much as an inch here. So if you put that to frozen precip, that's still a lot of frozen precipitation here across the northeast. So let's get right into the pattern. I showed you the pattern. Here it is across much of the country. You get that jet stream plowing here across portions of the northern plains, digging out a big trough here, and this trough pretty much goes negatively tilted by the time Thursday and Friday morning comes along here. So this system really gets cranking here across the northeast as the phasing starts. Energy from the northern jet stream to the subtropical jet stream. Let's get right into the forecast. Amounts of snowfall across the region. I'm looking at a lake effect snow band here across the Syracuse area for Wednesday, especially Onondaga and Madison counties. Those are the areas right around Syracuse on eastward and southeastward. That's where we'll see that 7 to as much as 14 inches of snowfall. Lesser amounts, more towards 3 to 6 inches, extreme southern Oswego County, even clipping northern Cayuga County here. And as far north, or as far south here as northern Cortland County and to portions of Shenango County. This is where we could see 3 to 5 inches of snowfall during the day as that lake effect band intensifies. Lake Erie, the parameters aren't near as good, but we'll still get about an inch or two, maybe towards Erie County, Crawford County, over towards Warren and McKean counties, and then Shenango County, or Chautauqua County for that matter, over towards southern Erie County and Cattaraugus and Allegheny counties. So there you have it. There's all those snowfall totals for your Wednesday. And here's your snowfall totals for the region for Thursday, Thursday night, and Friday. Here it is across the northeast. Lesser totals south of Interstate 80 as we get more warm air aloft and more mixing and changeover. But we'll see that solid pretty much 3 to 6 inches, I think, from around Binghamton, Scranton, over to Monticello, New York, Catskills, Poconos, over towards Finger Lakes, the Laurel Highlands of Pennsylvania, as well as the Alleghenies, and then pretty much stretching up towards portions of the upper, just clipping just extreme northern Hudson Valley here, especially the Adirondacks and the Mohawk Valley. That's where the cold air hangs on the longest. So we'll have those snowfall totals. General solid 3 to 6 inches, but do not be surprised if some of these areas, especially if this low really gets cranking, we get a good moisture connection Thursday night, that we exceed some 7-inch totals in many of these locations. So we'll watch for that as well. The thing that'll be playing into this a lot is the warm air aloft that we'll see. So we'll be battling a couple things here. Let's take a look at the ice totals here. We'll still be dealing with that high pressure retreating here to the northeast, so we'll be undercut even as the warm air intrudes, especially after midnight on Thursday night. This is where we get some of these ice totals. The high resolution NAM model really outputting some heavy ice totals on the order of up to maybe a half an inch. I'm going with about a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch here across especially northeast Pennsylvania, from right around the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton area into the Poconos, Catskills, right along Route 6 in Pennsylvania over towards Wellsboro, Bradford, Warren. Maybe not as far west as Warren or Erie, but we'll still get a little bit of ice here. But Binghamton, that's where we could see a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch of ice. The Finger Lakes, the Mohawk Valley, as well as the Lake Plain here, I don't think you'll see as much ice. We'll probably stay snow the longest, so snow and sleet totals will stay. In that previous map I showed you that was snow, that includes sleet totals as well. So we'll probably see a good amount of sleet mixed in as well. But these are the freezing rain totals, and as I said, we'll have less south of Interstate 80. We'll have that changeover sooner. Still look for about a 1/10 of an inch in these areas. But we'll switch over to rain in many of these areas from the coastal plain on westward towards the lower Susquehanna Valley, especially Friday morning. So that will limit some of our snow and ice totals here towards Harrisburg and places on the suburbs of Philadelphia and Allentown. But there you have it. That's the ice totals I'm looking at. And here, let's get right into the forecast, starting off with your Wednesday. We're looking pretty nice here across the Northeast. Most areas getting sunny. As I said, the area that's troublesome here is Syracuse, right around anywhere from a 1/2 foot to a foot of snow, maybe locally higher, in and around the Syracuse area. So if you have to travel up 81 or along the New York State Thruway, might not want to do that tomorrow on Wednesday. Let's take a look at Thursday across the Northeast. Snow develops from south to north right around Harrisburg and Philadelphia, right around that 10-11 a.m. time frame, heading north towards Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, right around that noon hour, 1 p.m., and then towards Binghamton towards 3 p.m. We'll start to mix in sleet and freezing rain towards Harrisburg, maybe as far north as Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and Williamsport, right around 4 or 5 p.m. So that warm air really gets flowing north here, and that's where we'll see the changeover. So quite a mix of precipitation here across the Northeast. We even start as some frozen precip, maybe in northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, before changing over to rain. And here in New England, we'll start as well as some frozen precip, but quickly change over to plain rain. But here across the Northeast, the central portions and the interior portions, that's where we'll see anywhere from about a couple inches of snow, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow and sleet, and then of course a 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain here along the mid and lower Susquehanna River valleys westward towards State College, maybe even as far north as some of the Laurel Highland areas into your Thursday night. This is where the low really gets cranking. Models have brung down some of the snowfall amounts, but I still think we'll hold on to some heavy snow across the area. Some of these bands that set up where you get that adiabatic cooling. Some areas that we'll be seeing sleet and freezing rain will change back to snow in some areas. So it depends on what wins out, whether this low-level warm air continues to push in, but it'll be battling some of these heavier bands, and that high pressure will slowly continue to retreat. I still think it'll be a factor heading on later into Thursday night, so you'll still have those areas that warm up in the upper layers will still be holding on to some low-level cold air here, so the concern for freezing rain and sleet is there as well. But as I said, we'll probably see a widespread 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inch snowfall amounts, maybe locally higher, especially north of Binghamton towards Cortland, Ithaca area, Finger Lakes, the western Mohawk Valley, Syracuse. Those areas could maybe see more of the closer to 7 inch or more variety. Where you get more sleet and freezing rain mixing in, that cuts the snowfall and ice totals down a bit. So there you have it across Thursday night. That low gets cranking across the coastal plain here between Atlantic City and New York City. Into your Friday, the low pulls to the northeast towards New England. We get kind of a dry slot here. We'll mix in some drizzle, some freezing drizzle. Maybe as far north as Binghamton, we might change over to some drizzle, mixing with freezing drizzle at times, depending on the thermal profile during that time. But the heaviest precipitation pulls to the north, places from the New York State Thruway on northeastward here towards the St. Lawrence and Adirondacks, the White Mountains, the Berkshires, into New England. So there you have it for your Friday. We get some warming, so some of those areas that saw that significant snowfall and ice overnight will have a chance to melt off some of that, but for the most part you'll pretty much stuck with it. Anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of snow a popular widespread area from Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Binghamton State College, Williamsport, Elmira, even further where you get that 3 to 5 inch snow and a 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice across the area. And then further north, Ithaca, Cortland, Cooperstown, over towards just north of Albany here, and Oswego areas on northeastward. This is where you could see those some of those areas eclipse 7 inches here. So there you have it across the Northeast for pretty much your Friday amounts here as the system continues to pull away. Take a look at my 5-day outlook from Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania. Here's your Wednesday. Only sunny day across the Northeast. If you travel north along I-81, you might run into some snow into Cortland and Syracuse, but if you're Binghamton to Scranton, nice sunny day, only heading up towards 30. And then for your Thursday, look at that. Snow moves in by about 2 or 3 p.m. Scranton, by about noon, we'll see probably about 2 to 3 inches during the day, maybe some sleet mixing in, ice pellets. But it's Thursday night. This is where we could see probably another 2 to 3 inches, probably right around 1 to 2, maybe as much as 3 inches of snow, depending on the thermal profiles. But we'll get sleet mixing in, and then right around midnight, 1, 2 a.m., we start to get some freezing rain mixing in some areas along the Susquehanna River Valley. Look for about maybe up to a 1/10 to 1/4 inch of freezing rain. So depending on how much ice and snow falls here, we could be looking at either an advisory event or maybe even a low-end warning criteria event here. So watch for that into Thursday night here into Friday. We try to get a little bit warmer here towards Friday afternoon, but Friday morning the damage will have been done. Probably a solid 3 to 5 inches of snow across our area with up to a 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice. So that's going to be quite interesting, quite a winter wonderland. Maybe by the afternoon, freezing areas of drizzle and freezing drizzle, and then into your Saturday, we try to clear it out a little bit. We try to make it up towards 36 or 37. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark, comments, Twitter at WX Northeastern, Google Plus at MeteoMark. Don't forget to visit me at MeteoMark.com and WeatherNortheastern.com. That'll do for this edition of Weather Northeastern.